Welcome, you beautiful faces. It's 8 o'clock. We're back at our normal time. 16th of the 6th, 2025. This year is nearly over. We are all getting a day closer to the grave. And you know what? I need a co-host. And I went and I tried to find a guy who is as loose as I am when he records. I've got the great man himself. I'm so excited about this because we've got someone normal for a change. We've got Deebs from the True Bloods. Deebs, how you doing, my friend?
Hello, Pom. Yes, I'm really well, mate. It's an absolute pleasure to be with you here live on your YouTubes. This is outside my normal realm, mate, but absolute pleasure to be joining you on this glorious Monday evening with it pissing rain down here in Melbourne like it normally is. So thanks for having us on, mate.
Hey, mate, you're going to have to talk us through this. So, I mean, there's many strings to your bow. And make sure you go and check out Deeb's podcast. It's absolutely brilliant. It's just two guys just chatting bare shit about the Swans. And they are quite funny as well. I've got to say, they are very funny. But you've got many strings, you know. Melbourne, you're in Melbourne. You support the Bloods. How did that come about, man?
Yeah, so grandparents were old South Melbourne supporters, mate. So they were the first ones to get me on board. And look, I've got no one in my direct family actually goes for the Swans. My mum and my sister are Geelong supporters. And God bless my old man, he's a St Kilda supporter. So, you know, God have mercy on his soul. But I chose pretty well. My grandparents were South Melbourne supporters, and they got me on board. And yeah, been pretty blessed to have chosen them. And the Swannies were a good choice. And I don't love too many things more than I love the Swans, mate. So it's great to have a bit of a platform with the podcast to be able to, you know, talk Swannies, because I think that's what lacks in the general media sometimes. And I think it's even been brought to the fore more with, you know, our slow start to the season this year and struggling a little bit. They just love to whack the boots in when we're struggling a little bit, but I don't think we quite get our dues when we're going all right as well. So
I've got to say, Swans are doing general AFL content here. They are that one team that like are almost like the ugly duckling of AFL. Like when people think interstate, they think Fremantle Eagles. Brisbane get way too much glaze. Swans are just kind of there, but you look at what they've done in their short time in the AFL as the Sydney Swans. They're probably up there with some of the most iconic moments in the modern day AFL.
Oh, for sure. We've had a plethora of amazing moments. You look at, you know, Tony Lockett, 1,300 goals, and then you get to, you know, Buddy Franklin, 1,000, making a couple grand finals, 6 grand finals, 2 wins, 4 losses that I've seen. And there's definitely plenty of highlights that the Swannies have produced, but it's just unfair. You go with the ugly ducklings tag. That's what Demetrio went with in 2005. And, you know, we ended up winning the flag that year. So we definitely get painted with that brush. But, we are Mads and myself and Polly as well. We try and go into bat for our boys whenever we can.
Mate, we love it. And obviously you've had the week off, Deebs. Talk us through the week off. How is that? I always find the bye the worst week in the football calendar.
Oh, see, I couldn't disagree more. It was fantastic to have the week off. It's funny, Mads and I met up with Polly in Sydney the week before last. So we had a big weekend up in Sydney. Mads and I always talk about it. It's like not every time that we get together and watch the Swans do we need to have 25 beers, but that's always what happens. So it was a big weekend in Sydney, and then we backed it up against the Tigers on the G the week after, and we had another 25 beers. We celebrated a win together, which was nice. The bye couldn't have come at a better time for both club and us here at True Bloods as well.
Well, I mean, you've got everyone back, haven't you now? You've played injured. All the big names are back. Problem time, I reckon, for the rest of the league.
Oh, look, you're the one who said it. Absolutely, I think so. We've got Errol Goulden coming over the hill on his horse. You know, you got the sunshine in behind him and you're leading us back into battle. So something that you'd see from the Great Crusades is what we're going with. We've got a nice little video ready for that one when it gets announced that he's back. So looking forward to that. We've got Joel Armadi as well coming back in. It's all about structure. He just structures us up and even maybe Tommy Papley as well. I think that's another point that's just been understated with the Swannies is we were playing decimated for a lot of this season, and it all comes down to, oh, yeah, the Swans are just no good and they've lost their aura and all this stuff. But you take 9 out of 23 of any side last year, and I think they would be battling too. So that's what we'll go with.
Mate, look, I wish you the best, but we are here to do. I'm looking forward to doing this with you. We're going to judge the teams game by game. So, Deebs, what we do here is we just briefly go over this week's fixtures, what we learned about it, what we hated about it. Do we think they should be ranked higher? This changes every week, so we do it game by game. It's a rolling calendar. We've been doing it since pre-season. This is how it looks at the end of last round. We'll start with St Kilda Dogs. Did we learn anything about these two sides? St Kilda got destroyed here, didn't they?
They did. The Saints have just been mediocre for so long, haven't they? There's sort of no end in sight for the Sainters, unfortunately. But Dogs have been a side for me this year that I think they've lost a lot of games, but sort of kept their respect at the same time. And then they get the likes of Sam Darcy coming back in. They're a scary outfit. I think they're probably, they nearly jump above the Lions there, don't they? But I think the Lions lost, 4 of their last 6. I think that the Dogs could slide up one there. But it's funny, they sit outside the 8, don't they?
Yeah. I think we've always been nice to the Dogs while they're injured, but I think people, exactly like you've said there, Deebs, they've got their players back, man. Like Darcy, that's scary. Like he looked like, I don't think Darcy's human. Like honestly, like genuinely not of this world.
Man, they put that graphic up. They were talking about it on SEN this morning. It's like the peak of where he takes a grab is like 3.3 meters. It's like, how do you defend that? I've got no idea. That you talk about players you want in your side. Sam Darcy's nearly got to be number 1, doesn't he?
Oh, mate, he's a freak of nature. And you know what? I agree with you. I think at the minute, we've got to do that. The Saints, though, I think you've described that. A good friend of ours, Marnie, likes to call Saints mid-ball.
Yeah, sure. A little bit rich coming from a North Melbourne supporter, but anyway.
It's harsh, but they are like, honestly, they are the vanilla ice cream of football, aren't they?
Oh, mate, it's funny. I watch a little bit of St Kilda. Obviously, my dad's a St Kilda supporter, and one of my best mates goes for the Saints. And you just don't know how they've done it for so long since, 09, 010, where there's just sort of no end in sight. I don't think Ross, the boss, is coaching overly well. I don't think they recruit very well. They can't, entice anyone into their side. They're going to pay Tom De Koning 1.7. That's just overs. It just doesn't seem to be turning around for the Saints anytime soon.
They feel like a club that their ceiling is like 10th.
Yes. I can't believe they're 10th on your ranking. Yeah.
Well, it's because last week we had a St Kilda fan on here and he refused to let me put Carlton above them. But I think they need to be 12th at best.
Yeah, being generous.
And that's me being nice. Do you know what I mean? Because my wife's a St Kilda fan, I don't want to get divorced.
That's right. Happy wife, happy life.
But then we come to Hawthorn Adelaide. This was probably one of the more ugly games of football you watch. But credit to the Hawks. I didn't think they could win ugly games. They did.
Yeah, that's what being a finals team is about, is when you're off, when it's an average game, it's just finding a way to win. And I think you bang on with what you've said. They haven't shown too much of that ability just to find a way to win. And yeah, for them, they're known as sort of a sexy footy side, win in a really pretty way. But there was nothing pretty about that game down there. And yeah, but it was really good for them, to come out with the 4 points.
It's interesting because I feel like Adelaide, we've got to move down. I always think that first quarter, they should have blown that game away.
Yeah, they dominated, didn't they? It was their pressure was immense. They were definitely on top in that first half, and they've got some serious star power in that side with your Rankins, and I think sort of Dawson started to tear that game apart. I tell you what, every time I see Jordan Dawson dominating for the Crows, a little bit still dies inside me, and I sort of like to. I wouldn't say forgive, but I like to forget so I don't have to worry about it. But geez, he's a player, isn't he, Jordan Dawson?
He just finds the ball, doesn't he?
Oh, and he can do it in the air too. I think it was the week before where he had a bit of a quiet game and they chucked him forward and he just looked like he was going to rip the head off the game as well. But it kills me every time seeing Dawson play well for the Crows.
A bit like me with Matt Kennedy. I mean, I feel like we have to move Geelong above.
Have to.
Above choice. Them. Hawks, where do we put them? Do you put them above Gold Coast?
Did Gold Coast didn't play this week, did they? Or they did?
No, they had the week off.
They had the bye as well. I'm not sold on the Gold Coast either. I said I'm basically not sold on everyone bar the top two. It's so open this year. Hawk ball, all that stuff. I'm happy to leave it, but I'm open to what you think.
No, we'll give them a stay of execution. They have got the week off. I'm with you on Gold Coast. I feel like Gold Coast are a bit like the team we're about to talk about in a minute, GWS. I feel like the media make you think they're good because they talk about them a lot, so you're not quite sure where they are. It's like you kind of warped. But I mean, we watched this game. This game entertained me because round 0, I made a famous comment, Deebs. I said that even though GWS beat Collingwood, they were the biggest frauds in the AFL, GWS, and they wouldn't make the 8. They managed to get the win here against Brisbane, and I watched this game. This is a GWS game. When they play sexy football, they look amazing. But I think this says more about Brisbane literally regretting Danaher retiring than anything else. They have nothing up forward.
Yeah, there's a few sides getting around at the moment without a forward line or a key focal point in the forward 50. And that's what won the Giants this game, isn't it? 11 goals between two power forwards. Like, good luck winning games when, two guys are kicking 11 between them. They just managed to get the game on their terms, fast-moving footy, inside 50, contested grabs. The arrival of Cadman. He's had a lot of pick one. He's had a lot of spruik on him, and it's good for him to finally live up to that name. And Jesse Hogan plays well week in, week out, doesn't he? But yeah, I think you're 100% right. Giants got it on their terms, sort of probably after half time, and just, ran all over the Lions. Interesting, the Lions, that's their third game that they've lost up at the Gabba, isn't it? It's not quite the fortress it was last year.
Yeah, I always think with the interstate sides, you need that home advantage, don't you? Because the Victorians have such an advantage playing home and away, all bar 16 teams pretty much at their home ground. Just they change the colour of the Marvel or the G just to suit the away team. So I think it's important. I agree with you, Deebs. It doesn't. I don't feel scared about going to Brisbane anymore.
No, it's been shown, hasn't it? They've lost multiple games there, and I don't think they're quite running on all cylinders. So it's been basically all year. They had that 6-week patch where they were just sort of finding ways to win. They'd play a quarter of footy. Pretty similar to the Swans last year. We sort of won a lot of games where it wasn't great footy for the bulk of it, but you play one quarter of footy and it's too powerful for sides to contain. I think there's a bit of that about the Lions at the moment, but it's definitely a long season and they've banked a lot of wins early. So that's all you can do.
Yeah, and GWS, I suppose we're going to have to move them up. When you kick only 5 behinds and kick 17, you win most games. Where do you think we should put Brisbane and GWS?
I think you gotta slide the Lions. It's actually hard to put. I'm not too sure. I think Giants probably deserve to be probably up above. How did the Dockers go? See, I forget how every team went.
That's why I'm here. They just won by a goal, if you remember, against North. Yeah. They let a massive lead slip.
Yeah, I'm happy to leave the Lions at 5, but Giants can come and get up on the Dockers for mine.
Teresa, it's ruined. GWS are back in the 8. Bastards. Yeah. Bastards. It's going to be entertaining, but this game here was a shellacking Geelong doing whatever they wanted to Essendon. And the real question here is, did they do enough to usurp the Pies at the top of our power rankings?
It was pretty powerful performance. If any performance was going to do it, it would be that one. But I just think you feel for the Dons at the moment. They're sort of, I can't believe how many injuries they've got to their tools. They're playing all these mid-season recruits that they've had to go out and get. While some great stories in there, you definitely would prefer that not being the case. But look, I can't displace the Pies, but yeah, you're feeling for the Dons, and you can't be too disappointed as a Dons supporter. You don't really have much going your way at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad when you look at the back line of the Bombers and you've got to Google who the players are.
That's right, mate. That's me with most sides, to be fair. But but yeah, especially with these mid-season recruits they've had, you feel for them. That's for sure.
Yeah, you know what? I think we've got to leave Geelong there. I'm with you. You know what, though? Part of me, because of the injuries, I feel like we've got to move Essendon down one place.
Yeah, I feel like it feels. I do not know how Essendon beat us. Like, that game was something else. I've never been as angry as I was in that last quarter when we were just like peppering the goals and kicked like 2 goals 8 in the last quarter and lost by a snag. So it feels a little bit wrong going above them, but you moved it, not me. Happy with it.
Hey, mate, doing the favours. I feel for Essendon though a lot. I mean, I'm a Carlton fan, but that they were going so nicely. They don't deserve that many injuries.
Yeah, no, that's right. It's a bit out of their control. Very similar to, what the Swans have been going through as well in the sort of at stages in the first half of this year. So definitely understand their position.
We got Marnie in chat. We were just talking about you. Your ears should be burning. Hey, look, Teresa's giving you some love as well. They are like you've changed her opinion on Swans fans.
See, I've just I don't know how this stuff works, mate. The older I get, I'm at the bright age of 32, and I'm just really starting to struggle with technology. So I've just moved the cursor over onto the chat, and I can see the chat comments coming through now.
Hey, they are beautiful, our chat. You're lucky here. They're all nice guys. But then we've got Marnie's here at the perfect time. Fremantle, North Melbourne. North Melbourne look dead and buried. Their tail wagged. And somehow Fremantle managed to win this game. This game is hard to read because I feel like North probably, in all honesty, deserved to win this.
Yeah, for sure. For sure,
but it was the least unexpected thing. I did say, start of the game, the most Fremantle thing ever would be to lose this game.
Yeah. Fremantle's another hard one to get a read on, isn't it? It's you don't really know it's just so inconsistent what Freo's doing. But yeah, look, I'll tell you what, it's got to be tough as a North supporter, just constantly being in a winning position but not getting the job done. Like, it's I've probably paid more interest to it in the last 2 years, like becoming, good friends with Marnie and, seeing you just pay a little bit more close attention to what the side's doing. And man, it kills me a little bit that they just can't get the result. But it's got to come to a point where, something has to change, because it just feels like it's on repeat at the moment with the Kangas.
Are you there, Deeps?
Yeah.
Oh, there we are. Sorry, my screen went. No, I agree with you. They feel like they need to win. Like, it feels like they need to learn to win, don't they?
And it's in the manner that they do it as well. It's even last week against the Eagles, like they probably didn't deserve to win that game, but like sort of found a way to win. Yeah, but you've done it against the worst side in the comp. You know what I mean? But they've got the players. You've got the Suv, you've got LDU doing his thing in the first quarter, tearing it up. You've got experience in there with Luke Parker now. I just don't quite see it coming together yet. And it's like it has to come together soon, or else something's going to change. And it's like, is it Clarko? Is Clarko the problem, Pommy?
Hey, I feel like people are going to be there. It's the besties in chat as well, Jasmina. Good day to you. I'm sorry I ignored you, but I agree with you. I feel like questions have got to start coming about Clarkson at some point, but it just feels like they're allergic to winning. You know what it's like, don't you, Deeps? Like, I always think winning is infectious, the same as losing. And at the minute, it feels like they just don't know how to win a game of football.
For sure. And, mate, I am honestly still, as a North Melbourne supporter, I would still be scarred from that Collingwood game last year. It's like everyone hates the Pies, right? And no one was riding home the Kangas over the Pies more than I was. And then the way they couldn't hold in that game, it's just like that's still the same type of things, just in different ways still happening this year, I feel. I'm not quite seeing what we like to go with on the podcast, incremental uplift with North Melbourne. Not quite seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, Matt makes a good point. I have a theory that if we put our teams above Carlton, we always win. I don't know if I can move North Melbourne, though. I really don't. And Fremantle, I think they're lucky to stay where they are.
Yeah. I think they have to.
Like, because because we're going to come on to Melbourne, who they're beneath, but I don't think Melbourne have shown anything to say that they're even more reliable than them. But Port Adelaide, they just find a way to win.
Yeah, they like it on the home deck over there, although I think the Saints knocked them off the other week over there. But that was an interesting game, wasn't it? Just like another inconsistent side in Melbourne. And it was nice to see Stephen May get a bath from Georgiadis. There's nothing better than Maisie copping a bath. Came off squeaky clean. But, when he could have kicked 13 goals. Like a lot of shots from directly in front that he missed as well. It couldn't have been an absolute fill your pockets up day. He definitely walked out with Stephen May in his pocket, that's for sure.
You know what everyone always says, Melbourne's a happy place. When a team tells me everything's okay, that genuinely thinks, because we've all been down the pub with our mates after they've had a blazing argument with their missus, and they're trying to convince you everything's stable. And 6 hours later, he's going to ring you saying, "Can I come and sleep on your couch? She's kicked me out."
That's right.
That's Melbourne. That's
right. It is. Well, you don't know if Stephen May's going to go at the captain or he's going to go at Milkshake's Melksham at Entrecôte. Like, you're just not too sure what he's going to do, the big fella.
Mate, I'm with you. And I just feel like Melbourne are always one scandal away from imploding. It feels like it's so fragile down there.
Well, I think that you even see that in the post-match presser last week, having to address the Max Gawn stuff with Stephen May and like make a big thing out of it. Because if they don't address it, they'll just implode from within. So it's like they feel it's like eggshells at Melbourne. I don't mind it, although it's hard to talk when they flogged us by 50 points on the G. Geez, that was a tough watch. I don't mind losing to a lot of sides, but Melbourne's got to be one of the worst that I hate losing to.
You know what? Melbourne's the only football team I've ever seen going to a game and seeing someone drink a thimble of wine. Like they literally had like, I don't know if you've ever seen at the G, if you go into the Legends Lounge and stuff, the wine they serve is like literally a thimble. And I'm like, who the fuck drinks wine at football?
Yeah, that's right. Well, Mads and we went into the MCC. We did a bit of content in there, and some of the interesting conversing you have with the members inside the MCC was definitely interesting and different to what it is over the other side of the ground. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's bizarre. And Port Adelaide, like they're a team that feels like they only ever win games if there's a reason emotionally. Like if someone writes an article that Ken Hinckley's shit, I can guarantee they're going to win the next week. But if there's any form of praise, they are guaranteed to lose the week after.
Yeah, for sure. It's like they're happy to lose a few in a row and then come out and play a really good game. But I think they do move up a bit in the rankings, probably below the Swannies and above the Dons there.
You know what? I think that's fair because that's pretty much the ladder at the minute. We're replicating the ladder without. Teresa, you like your wine in the bag. Look, the only way it should be drunk, goon, is the and you've got to be 16 behind. You've got to be 16 like behind a bus shelter or something. Like
Yeah, look, we're a big wine podcast as well. We are called the Sunday Night Twilight Zone, the Grenache Hour. The Grenache is a nice grape, Pommy. If you haven't gone a Grenache, a little bit more body than a Pinot, but not quite as heavy as a Shiraz. Just slots in there really nicely. The Grenache Hour of a Sunday, winter, in front of the fire. You swirl your red wine, and we call it the Grenache Hour. So try that one out in the chat. The Sunday Grenache.
The Sunday Grenache, mate. I'm a beer. Do you know what I mean? I'm a beer boy. Very rarely do I go for a wine, like unless I'm trying to impress someone.
Yeah. See, look, as a single man, Pommy, I do have to try and impress women from time to time, but I do think that they think I'm more of a wanker when I start crapping on about wine, but I do enjoy red. That's for sure.
Hey, mate, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. And we end with my Blue Boys. You know what, Deebs, right? You are a vocal Sydney fan. You know what?
No.
Mate, I don't know if you're around Carlton socials at all, because we do seem to take it over, Carlton do. We seem to be everywhere because we pop up on my wife's feed and she just exclusively follows Saints people. But have you ever known a club that gets so angry when they win?
Well, there's nothing more than, look, Melbourne. It's great that Melbourne and Carlton are sitting there 10 and 11 together, because they're the two clubs that I love that self-implode. And when Carlton do it on themselves, it's amazing. Even when they're winning games of footy, as you say, like the Friday night with Finey on SEN, if Carlton lose, is a simply must listen. Like it's entertaining stuff. But like, what a fan base! They're entertaining, to say the least.
That's one way to describe them. Yeah. I've got to say, maybe I'm getting old, Deebs. I might be getting too old. Like, it's a chance. I'm hitting 40 this year, so I could be too old for this. But, like genuinely, these last 2 weeks, even though they haven't been impressive wins, as a Blues fan, I have to remember we won, because it feels like we've lost both games by 40, and we desperately need wins. And I'm talking to a Sydney fan who I'm sure would take a 1-point win this week or a 101-point win.
Oh, mate, you got to bank the 4 points, and sometimes you just got to look past on how it happens, especially when you're battling in that middle to bottom part of the ladder. I don't think beggars can be choosers. You take the 4 points and you run and take them however you can. And yeah, I'll take 4 points, however I could get them this week. That's for sure.
You know what's funny is I'm suggesting we put my mighty Blue Boys here above Melbourne.
I think so.
Right. And I think that there is literally your multi nightmare, isn't it? Every time I have a multi, it's one of this middle tier that fucks me against a $4 outsider.
That's right. That's right. It's they can just rock up and play some absolutely insipid footy, and you just some of the quarters that we've seen from the teams from 8 to 18 there. Like some of the quarters of footy that have been played have been some of the worst that any team's played, if that makes sense. It's been absolutely insipid, but it's the time of year to start putting it all together. And if you don't put it together soon, she's all over pretty soon. It's going to get late early is what Madison Clark goes with my co-host. It's going to get late early.
You know what? I don't disagree with him as well. I don't disagree with him. I did enjoy Madison's new nickname for the pies.
The Wussy Boys.
Yeah.
It's the best. And I'll tell you what, if you're searching for engagement over on your socials, just engage with Collingwood supporters and just poke a little bit of fun at them, and they won't be able to take it, and your engagement's going to be through the roof because the Wussy Boys tag is one of the best.
It did make me laugh. He popped up on my feed, and I was like, these guys know what they're doing. I've got to say, you know what? And I hate to say this, and I always do, but coming into this as a Carlton fan, and I'll ask you, Deebs, because you've got big rivals as well, being a Swans guy. I was genuinely shocked that, I've got to say, outside of obviously my own club, Carlton, Collingwood and Essendon fans are genuinely, the ones I engage with, the nicest, most level-headed football fans I've met. And I'm like, this is weird because I'm pre-programmed to think you're an idiot, but you're actually all right, and I do like you.
Yeah, look, I don't think I could say the same thing about Collingwood. I think there's a lot of them sort of booking their premiership, their grand final ticket for the last weekend in September, where I think there's a lot of water to go under the bridge. I do think they sort of get a bit of ahead of themselves, and they've had it, pretty good the last few years, although last year's a little bit of an outstander. Well, is that the right word?
Outlier,
that's the one I'm going for. I do think that they're sort of counting their chickens before they hatch this year. It's so much more even than I think it's been in a long time. But some of the worst interactions I've had is I think Richmond supporters are struggling with being average. Like they're die-hard supporters. When you engage with them at the game, I think they're battling a little bit. And your mob, Carlton. There was one time out at Etihad, I went with Mads, and we honestly thought that we weren't going to get out of there. Like we were sort of trying to, have a laugh like we do and engage with the Carlton faithful, and they just didn't quite take it the right way, Pom. But it's always interesting.
Yeah, you know what? Carlton's relationship with their football club is a little bit like I don't know if you've got a big brother or a little brother. I was the middle brother, but
sure.
How our fans treat the club is how I treated my big brother. I could bully him, I could belittle him. The minute any other fucker did, though, he's my brother to bully.
Yeah, sure.
Don't you dare say anything about him, even though I find it funny. And it does turn quite quickly, but it is weird. Being a Carlton fan, I've got to say, it is quite volatile. I've got to admit, even for me, I come from a soccer background where our fans, the reputation of English football fans, it does sometimes scare me how hard they'll go. I'm like, Jesus. Jesus,
I'll tell you what, there is nothing more entertaining than Carlton supporters. And to a degree. I love it when it happens. It's just so good.
You know what? Would you say though we have given Collingwood a bit of a backhanded slap, but at this moment, it's hard to look past Collingwood and Geelong, though, isn't it? They do feel like they're the top of the tree at the minute, and then it's the rest of us competing for 6 spots.
I think so. Yeah, it's you're playing your best footy at this time of year. It's definitely those sides, and I think Collingwood's the biggest impressive thing with the Wussy Boy Pies is that even though they've been tested by injury and, they haven't had, DeGoey all year and there's a few guys like that, it's just their ability to another guy to step up and fill the role and just keep getting W's. That's what they do best. But, do those close wins, sort of paint over the cracks of a few things going on at the Pies. I could see it sort of not quite going all their way all year, but at this stage, you can't look past them.
Quick question before we move on to the next segment. I don't want to bring it up to be a dickhead, but last year, obviously this time last year, you guys were miles above everyone else. You guys were like, there was a clear gap. And I remember us playing you, and I remember David King saying that this was number 1 versus number 2. Whoever wins this will win the Premiership. Getting a little bit excited as a Carlton fan. I was like, oh, this is it. This is what it feels like. And then it obviously turned quite quickly for the Swans. At back end of the year, the chinks started to happen. I remember watching one of the games last year and commenting that in the first part of the year, you guys were celebrating tackles, spoils. And then it felt like round 18 onwards, the pressure got to you. It felt like there was something where you weren't enjoying it. It started to become like a little bit of pressure. What do you think caused that? And do you see that happening to one of the big sides again this year?
Yeah, look, I think if we could put the finger on it, like everyone would know, right? I think it was just the sort of perfect storm with us. It sort of all culminated into a couple of poor performances, but you got to look at how it was last year as a whole. Like up until round 14, what were we, 13-1, I think? But there's no way our record should have been that. We just played some outstanding quarters of footy that got us over the top of some sides who probably should have beaten us. And I think we were our best was the best in the competition when we were flying. There's no doubt there was no one who could go with us, but it sort of culminated in a few injuries at the back end of the year and then, not quite playing how we wanted to. And then we had no back line against Port Adelaide, and that's when we went down by 120 points over there. And you're just like, geez, I can't see this side winning a premiership, but we did manage to turn it around as well. And, bar, a shocking performance on grand final day, we weren't too far away. But I think that you just got to have so much going right for you. And I think you look at the Lions at the back end of last year, and it's all about timing your run. I don't read into, peaking too early, but I do think there is a timing your run. Like there's no point being 3 games clear at round 14 because it means jack shit.
Mate, I agree with you. I mean, I remember watching the Fremantle game, round 16. And they were like the first team to beat you for like 8 months, it felt like. And it was a tight game. But I remember saying to my wife when St Kilda played you the next week that the air of invincibility has been broken, which I felt like people kind of gave you the trophy. After you beat us, all that media articles was Swans to lose, Swans are the premiers, Swans are too good. And I feel like sometimes in sport, it psychologically affects other teams, doesn't it? They start to believe it.
Yeah, for sure. I just think, when you see a team just dominating and, kicking big scores and, putting it all together, and you look at the ladder like I'm sure every player does and they know where they're at. When you see a side 3 games clear, you're like, geez, so maybe they are intouchable. But it's sort of, I think if you deep dive into, the first 14 rounds last year, it just shouldn't have been 13-1. We weren't that good. We're a good side, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think it was as good as it seemed.
If there was a team right now outside of Geelong and Collingwood to do a Brisbane, time their run, who do you think it is? And chat, answer that question.
Yeah, and shout out to Wino in the chat, just reminded me of all the grand finals. I'd completely forgotten about them. I think he's missed last year too, so might want to double check your facts there, champion. But yeah, so I would have to go with the Dogs. I think I just think they got you look at that midfield that they've got in there, the forward line. And, they're just a good team on paper. I think it's one of these teams that you look at and geez, they've been underperforming the last couple of years. And if they can pull it all together and start to, string some wins together and some consistency, and, they're probably the ones you don't want to be playing.
Yeah, you see, I'm trying to look at it in a Brisbane situation. I feel like I'm between the Crows and the Hawks. I feel like they're both a bit like Brisbane last year. Their best is ridiculous. It's just trying to make their implosions better. And I can't keep looking away at Hawthorn. Will Day comes back. And I just feel, will they be like 5th or 6th?
Yeah.
And then suddenly the Day dog comes in. It gives them a little bit of energy. And they just kill you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, if we're talking Will Days that to Hawthorn, what's Errol Goulden to the Swans then? With Errol Goulden maybe returning this week, do we even lose another game ever?
You know what I think with Sydney? I think your mentality from Dean Cox should be ruin someone's September. And if you have that mindset, you never know. You never know. Because I look at your fixture, you've got a lot of teams 4th to 12th. So you could ruin someone's finals, but get yourself in that window. You could come late.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think we had the hardest fixture up until now. So definitely, if blokes stop getting rubbed out and, the injuries subside, and you never know. But yeah, look, you got to look at how it is as well. Odds are against us of turning it around and making the 8. But if you go on a tear, which we have been known to do from time to time. I think we did that back in 2023 and played you in an elimination final. No, I don't think anyone expected us to make it that year either. So, back the boys in, but you just got to enjoy every game as it comes, or else you'll probably never enjoy footy again if you think you're going to win flags every year.
You know what? You make me happy. Just enjoy the game. Something that my Blues fans, but then Deebs, I'm looking forward to this because I reckon you're the man to get 8. Yeah. Right? So what we do here, you can you can use chat. It's basically like a game of charades, right? So chat will help you. We get a minute and I have to give you clues to certain players, right? Certain players, right? So chat will help you because chat are very good at this. There's some great guys in there. Double Dummy's sensational at this. Damien's in chat. He's one of the better. Randomly drawn today is midfielders. So these will only be midfielders.
Sure. Look, okay. I apologize to Teresa for calling them the Wussy Boys. Can you please help me here? Wayno, big fan of your work in the chat. Get around me here. Come on.
We love Winnow. He's a hardcore fan, so he won't take it. And Teresa, you've heard words said about your pies in this group chat.
I thought I was being polite.
Do you know what I mean? You've been in our watch-alongs with me. Do you know what I mean? You've been in the watch-along with me. The Carlton fans are a lot more meaner to you. But we're going to do midfielders. So an example of this would be, if it was Harry Sheezel, I'd be like, plays for North Melbourne. He's Jewish, and you'd be like Luke Parker.
Yeah, okay. See, look, my general player knowledge isn't what it used to be, but I'll give it a crack.
Mate, you'll be good at this. So I'm going to put a countdown timer on there. Honestly, chat are really good at this. They are.
Let's go, chat. W's in the chat.
They are pretty, I've got to say, pretty good at this type of game. So I'm ready when you are. Are you ready?
Yeah, ready.
All right, here we go. Okay, plays for Adelaide, used to play for you.
Dawson.
Okay, cool. Got long blonde hair, probably leading the Brownlow. Somehow went to Geelong when they have an infinite salary cap. Okay, plays for Gold Coast Suns. We're better than Matt Rowell, their captain.
Anderson.
Yeah. Plays for Fremantle, probably the most underrated midfielder in the competition.
Sarong.
Yeah, well done. Plays for the Dogs. Since Bailey Smith's gone, he's having a career best year. Got ginger hair.
Ed Richards.
Yeah. Plays for Brisbane. Sounds like a really knockoff version of McDonald's.
Oh, nah, you've lost me there.
Okay. Plays for Geelong. Probably their second best player. Probably up there leading the Brownlow.
Matt Holmes.
Okay, and plays for... Wait, started so I finish. Don't rush me. Okay, plays for Port Adelaide. Sounds like you put him on toast.
Sounds like you put him on toast. Butters.
Yes!
Jack Butters.
Deebs with 7. He joins the top of the leaderboard.
W's in the chat. W's in the chat.
Look at that. Tell you what, we have been waiting. Honestly, it feels like a lifetime since someone else has joined. And we've had it a couple of weeks in a row. The beautiful Damer. And he managed to get back on the top of the leaderboard, which we... And famously, Swoop Luke stripped off naked when he got 7.
Oh, good on you, Lukey. Love that.
He was well excited. I've never seen anyone so excited to win a stupid thing. But well done, Deeps. You have joined.
What was the Brisbane one? McCluggage, was it?
Yeah, McCluggage.
Oh, that's a shocking clue from you. That's
to
shocking.
be fair. Langy, there, look. There you are, look. She loves you. You know what I mean? She loves you, really. But tell you what, you know what is funny? What is really funny about it is my clues are notoriously bad. The McCluggage one, I think, Langy and Teresa are in chat. I think I fucked that up about 8 times.
Yeah, sure.
I need to think of a better way to describe
McCluggage. Yeah. You just got to, it's an interesting one, isn't it?
Do you know what I mean? Like, who knew? Well, I always say it's this, but then we come to the best thing. Cheers, Teresa. I love you too. Cheers for that, darling. There you are. You've had it patronising now. Team Faithful, I've called them.
Not the Faithful. Let's go.
There you are. Take us through who you've picked.
Yeah, look, I did have, so I'm not going to lie, I'm not a big Supercoach / fantasy player. So I did go for some assistance with this. There are a couple of guys amongst the Faithful. That's what we call our podcast listeners, the Faithful. So we went with Whitfield, who's playing against the Suns, just going to, tear it up off halfback, probably have 45, might sneak forward for a snag. And that equals big Supercoach points. And the same with Sheasel. Now, I do know in Supercoach, you do want to look for those players who can play multiple positions. So I think those two would slot into that very nicely. Georgie Hewitt against North, he's turning it around. He's turned into just another former Swan who out of the Sydney Swans football factory. Georgie Hewitt.
Georgie.
Yeah, he's turned himself from a role player into a match winner nearly this year, hasn't he? He's sort of hit the scoreboard a little bit. Love George. He was a big favourite at the Swannies. We love Georgie. And Ed Richards, we know the form he's in. As you said, in that little quiz, he's really turned it around. Not turned it around, I should say, but probably, staked his claim as, their best player. That's for sure. Nick Martin doing Nick Martin things, just bulk touches. Won a medal the other week on Dream Time. Just a quality player and has got forward this year at times to kick some goals as well, which we love. And Luke Jackson as well. And it's sort of the same with Brodie Grundy. I think those ruckmen, the hit outs, the tackles, the clearance game, that looks at like a team that's going to get bulk points on your super coaches.
Mate, I like it. GWS, Rob, I love you, mate. GWS won't be... Can you imagine what would happen to me after calling them frauds all year if GWS won? Jesus. But you're in esteemed company, Deebs. We've got some legends here, and historically, experts of this don't do very well. Number 2 in the competition is a super coach channel. And number 5 is Lekdog, good mate of mine, who is considered the godfather of Supercoach, who came on here and said hitting 1,000 would be easy. So he struggled. And Dylan is winning, who himself has never played Supercoach. So great opportunity here for you, Deebs.
For sure. Well, yeah, mate, if I can get on that board, I'll be absolutely stoked.
Mate, well, we end now with a look to next week. And we can see here last week, we had the wonderful Jake. He got 5 with the asterisks because the AFL don't play proper fixtures the week he did it. As Deebs will get an asterisk this week. I had an asterisk week. I'm second. You can see 8 is the marker, so you'd have to get them all. We'll go for a question as well. What do you think of Jamara going to Sydney?
You sign, seal, and deliver it. I think it's a lock. I would love Jamara. We'll straighten him out. Any off-field issues, I'll pull him in the back there in Bondi and read him the riot act, and we'll get him sorted out. More than happy to take Jamara on.
It does stink of a player that you'd take for peanuts, and he suddenly wins 6 consecutive Colemans.
Yes, that's right. It's the Swannies do love a big name forward, and I think Jamara could definitely be that in the future. So more than
he gets away from the Victorians.
That's right. That's right. This media bias that we have down here, he just gets out of the stinky Vic media bias and gets up to the mighty Swannies up in Sydney.
Well, let's start. Dockers versus Bombers. Who do you think will win this one?
We'll take the Dockers at home, no doubt.
You know what? That screams Fremantle doing a Fremantle thing, though, doesn't it?
It does. It really does.
Like, I would not be shocked to see Bombers win that by like 2 goals. And the Cats Lions. This is a ripper, isn't it? This is our first chance.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. It'll be all about how the Lions perform down there. Question marks coming over their games, but the Cat is down at GMHBA.
Yeah, I'm going to follow you in. I can't see be a huge win, but the Cats just look so professional. Then my amazing Blue Boys go and play Marnie's pretend team, the Kangaroos.
Yeah, a bit of North Ball action. I think it will be the Baggers. Does Kernow get up this week?
Well, I mean, according to the man himself, he's totally fine, and we'll see him out there. Knowing Carlton's previous PR, that means he's out for about 10 years.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we've had a few of them across our time as well. Yeah. What was it, though? Was it calf awareness or something like that? Did they go with the awareness?
Yeah, they just make shit up now, don't they?
Yeah.
What the fuck does that mean?
I don't even know, man. I don't know. But, yeah, I think the Baggers get it done.
No Comden for them, so there's no one told down the back. So I'll play 4 quarters and kick goals. Teresa's saying North by 69. It would be hilarious for the number.
Yeah, 69's in the chat. Love that.
Hey, do you know what I mean? We're a big fan of 69 on this channel. Then the Port entertain your Swannies.
Yeah, look, Errol. I think Errol Goulden's back. So that's what the word is saying. We've dubbed Joel Armati the Pirate, because I've been saying his last name wrong for so long. I go with Armati instead of just Amati. So the Pirate is back as well. Joel Armati. So back with Errol Goulden.
Suspension, isn't it? That one. That was for the
So he hasn't played for 5 weeks with the bye. Like, he'll be underdone as he'll be itchy and scratchy, but great for structure. We love it.
He also has a habit. We do quite a lot of Sydney watch-alongs on this channel. Has a habit of kicking goals just in clusters and then disappearing.
Oh, for sure. He was always known for, kicking 3 in the first quarter, then not seeing it again. And sort of did the same thing in that final, that prelim, didn't touch it, kicked the match winner. His consistency is getting a lot better, though, I feel. But he's going to battle, getting rubbed out every second week and, out for 3 weeks this time, 5 weeks in between games. Is his own worst enemy at the moment.
So you're going to go your Swannies here?
Of course, mate. Always tip the Swannies.
Mate, the Swannies. Imagine that. Big win that, and we'll get there. They'll win next. Oh, no. We can't have you beating Port because that means the press will say sack Inkley, which means they'll perform the week we play them.
Yeah, and we won't be talked about because it'll be all about, Ken's no good, and it's not how the Swannies did a number on him at Adelaide Oval. That's how it normally goes.
Question from chat. Papley, is he back this week or next?
The word is this week too, but I reckon he may be out for another one. He's had a crack in his heel, so I reckon they might give him an extra one. That's just my personal take. Nothing concrete evidence with that, though. But it could well be back as well.
And then the unbeatable Pies. They entertain St Kilda.
Yeah, Pies. All day, all night, all day.
Yeah, I do a show with a Pies fan and obviously Terry and Swoop Luke. And I've looked at this game just for the banter. I'd do anything for Saints to win this. Just because Swoop's getting a little bit loud. He's getting a little bit confident.
Hey, you gotta, when your team's on top by a couple of games, like, when else are you going to be lippy if not then? So I don't mind it. It's fine. I
don't mind it. It would just be nice to everyone else feel the pain of the Blues. Yeah. But then we've got the Giants entertain the Suns.
Yeah, interesting one. Probably the hardest one to choose on here, I reckon. Oh, you got to back the Giants off last week at home, don't you? I'll go with the Giants.
You know what? I'm going to tip the shot because I never tip the Giants. I have a rule. I have a POM rule. And we finish the Tigers. They've been a little... The bye probably came at the right time for the Tigers. They just started to look a bit tired, week off. They play the Doggies. Do we give them a chance?
Not too much of a chance. I think they'll start to really experiment with the kids down there, and may as well go for that draft pick, as they say. But I think the Dogs.
You know what? I'm with you. They look pretty solid tips. They do, if I might say so myself. We'll have a quick look of the footy tipping comp that all you guys and girls in chat do. The great Mrs. Pom sorted out the prize money for this. So there is a prize, a cash prize.
Cash.
Hey, you can't, look, free money. You know what I mean? We're like the opposite of Donald Trump giving out free money.
Yes.
No tariffs around these parts. No max scores last week. Was 6 a max score last week?
7.
7. So no max scores last week, but the Milkman, they all did pretty well. Ben, Carlton Blues, MRL, Ben. Most of you tipped well. Double Dummy, you got 6. You're in chat. I've just seen your name pop up. Lots of people did well, but the leader still run away. Methodical Flame. He was a guy who tipped like 4 shots in one round, came from the heavens. Still doing it. But we've got MRL, Peter Haywood, Tiger Time, Andrew Scott, all within touching distance. Claire, I think I'm way down. Yeah, there I am. Look, I'm 41st.
We're on the same. I'm on 78 as well. I was just having a look at our True Bloods tipping comp, and we've got someone on 90, which is berserk. 2 clear at the top. So
Jesus, like he's got to be like gambling, hasn't he? He's got to be a millionaire.
Oh, whoever knows? It's berserk. But yeah, shout out.
Mate. Well, I mean, Deebs, thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to drop your socials in chat, but tell us what kind of things do you and Mads get up to down at the True Bloods?
At the True Bloods, yeah, we're freshly on your YouTube. So anyone in the chat who wants to listen to some Schwannies chat at True Bloods podcast, Pommy's just shared that in the chat. Give us a subscribe, a like and subscribe over on your YouTube. We have a podcast that comes out every Wednesday. Just review our game, preview the upcoming clash, and we like to engage with our listeners and give them a voice as well, because that's what we wanted as supporters, back a few years ago when our podcast wasn't around. And that's why we do it, is to give the listeners a platform to voice their passion for their club and hear some potentially biased chat on their club that we don't get in the mainstream. So that's what we do over at True Bloods.
They are well worth a watch. I like to stick them on while I'm editing and stuff. They're good banter. They've got their own inside jokes. And you know what? It reminds me of a throwback to like the old school days, where you'd sit round with your mates over a beer, going back to the old country, back in the UK, having a few beers, and you'd just put the world to rights.
Yeah, that's right.
Not really care about any other team.
No, exactly right. It's probably even taken, the way I look at the general game. It's like I used to watch every game of footy where I just focus so much on the Swans now. It's that's all I tend to do. I do enjoy footy, don't get me wrong, but it's just love the Bloods and rocking up every week. And we're going down to the pub as a podcast this week for the game against Port. So down to the Rising Sun in South Melbourne. Bit of a call to arms. This is a sort of line in the sand game for us. If we go 5 and 9, it's probably too far back. But if we can get it back to 6 and 8, we just got to keep winning games. So we're getting all our listeners down to the pub, watch it together, have a few beers, and that's what we'll be doing, mate.
I love it as well. Ken's noticed you got a bit of Goodsy in the background.
Yeah. Well, my mum got me this not ages ago. It's like a life-size cutout, the old Goodsy. At Campbell's Chunky Footy, if we can get that down there.
All of that. So,
it's a ripping thing, and I like to sort of get that in the background when I do stuff online. It's a good little one.
You know what, Goodsy, one of my favourite players to watch when he played, like someone who crossed the divide between incredible class and also incredible dirtiness.
Yeah, he was a divisive figure, there's no doubt, but he was a sensational footballer, multiple-time All-Australian. I think he was one of the only players to make it All-Australian in both defence, in the midfield, and up forward as well. So, yeah, he was phenomenal to watch back in the day.
You can't beat it. Well, on the PommyInOz channel, if you are still here, guys, we've got loads coming on. What day are we on? Monday. So Wednesday, we'll have team selection with the guys where we're chatting shit, picking the Carlton selection. There'll be a preview coming out. You've also asked to go State of Origin on the weekend. So we will be doing a Wednesday evening special. We'll be doing State of Origin as well together as a community. So come on down. We'll have a bit of a laugh. I've got a draft video for you as well that I owe you that I forgot to finish. So we'll do that. But thank you very much, Deebs. Thank you very much, everyone else. Enjoy the rest of your week. And we'll see you next week.
W's